Another holster review today. I'm going to be reviewing the Crossbreed Supertuck Deluxe holster. If you look on their website, this is the premium, top line, best holster that they make. So when I bought this holster, I was really expecting big things. So I'm going to give you my review and tell you how it kind of stacked up against the hype. So, the good stuff. I'm going to start out with those. The holster is lightweight and compact. Big positive. The lighter the weight, the more compact, the more comfortable the holster is, the better chance you're going to take your gun when you walk out of that door. If you have a concealed carry permit, you always want to have your gun. You know, the saying is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So if your equipment affects your decision on bringing that gun with you, that's a big negativity for me. So the fact that this holster is lightweight and compact, it's very thin, kind of adds to more likely that you're going to take that gun with you. So that's a big positive. The next thing is it's extremely high quality. It's made in America and it's made to order. And what that means is when you make your order, they hand make this for you after they get the order. So these are not sitting on a shelf somewhere and they ship it, FedEx next day or UPS or, whatever. They hand make these when you order it. So theoretically, that's going to give you a better attention to detail. They're going to put their, pride, joy, love into this holster, blood, sweat, and tears. So theoretically, that's a good thing. Next thing, again, kind of goes back to the comfortability of the holster. This has pre-drilled holes for your clips, so you can adjust the way the actual holster rides in your pants. You can adjust it up and down. You can kind of tilt it back and forth. Every person's different, so they have different preferences on what is comfortable to them. So the fact that it gives you adjustability is a big thing. Again, that's more likely that you're going to bring the gun with you. So again, big positive. Next thing, I'm going to show you a video here. This is me wearing my holster. I am wearing a Ruger SP-101 revolver inside the holster. As you can see, it really does not print that much. Now, this is a revolver. It is kind of a odd shape, kind of not really streamlined gun. The back handle kind of sticks out a little bit. You can kind of see it, but chances are average person walking, say, through Walmart or something is not going to say, oh, that person's wearing a gun. They're not going to think anything more about it. And if you have, an automatic, it's not going to stick out as much. So it's be even more, snug to your body. I'm going to get to the bad things in a second, but first I want to tell you kind of the thought process of to why I bought this particular holster. You always hear the story of people saying that they have a drawer full of holsters, a closet full of holsters. They spend $50 to $60 per holster, and they have, 120 holsters or something like that. And I just didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to buy one holster. I wanted to spend the money for it, get a good, high-quality holster, and not have to deal with the constant buying new holsters and trying them out. I didn't want to deal with it. I just wanted one holster. That was it. So I did a lot of research about this holster when I bought it. And everything that I read on the internet, 9 times out of 10 was the Supertuck Deluxe. You can't go wrong with it. Buy it. You will not be disappointed. So I spent the 80 somewhat dollars on this holster. And I really was expecting big things. And unfortunately, it really didn't live up to the hype, in my opinion. I'm going to, go right down the line here. The very first big thing for me, the gun is in contact with your body. I'm going to show you a picture of the Nate Squared tactical holster that I previously reviewed. If you notice, the gun does not make contact with your body at all. That's a big thing. My father worked in the NYPD for 25 years. During his rookie days, he worked in the city out on patrol during, 98-degree summertime. And over time, during the years, him sweating, the gun would be, obviously in contact with the body that is sweating. The salt in your sweat corrodes the gun, it rusts the gun, it pits the gun. So if you look at his Smith & Wesson revolver, which he carried, it's got pitting all over it. It's, some rust spots on it. The bluing is all removed, and, if you spend $300 to $2,000 on, a gun, you don't want that to happen to your gun. You want to take care of it. You want it to look good, 25 years down the line, so you could pass it down to your kid, and your kid would be happy, owning and using that gun. Unfortunately for that revolver, that probably won't be the gun that I'd be carrying in the future. So that's, a big thing for me. Next thing is, again, kind of the same idea. If you look at the gun when it's in the actual holster, it's making contact with the Kaydex. And what that does is when you constantly draw and reholster your weapon, it's rubbing on the actual gun. So if you have bluing, for example, it's going to rub off that bluing. Again, that's kind of what happened to my father's gun, is over time, the bluing rubbed off from it being constantly in and out of his holster. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the Nate Square Tactical holster. If you actually look pretty closely in that holster, the gun only makes contact in about one or two places. It's mostly in the trigger guard. But besides that, the gun is actually almost free-floating in the actual plastic Kaydex material. With this holster, the entire gun is making contact with the Kaydex, and it's also making contact with the back leather. So, again, for the life of your gun, it's not the best thing. And I like to take care of my guns. I like my guns to be in proper working order and also look good. So that's a big negative thing for me. The next thing is, this really kind of bothered me. They go through the trouble of drilling holes into the actual holster for you to be able to adjust the cant and the height of the actual holster, how it rides in your pants. But if you look up closer, I'm going to show you a little video clip here. That's the washer that's on the back. Now, these have these like little pin kind of things on the back of it, and what that does is it digs into the actual leather, and that keeps the washer from moving, which is, that's a good thing. But they drill the hole for the middle for the screw to go through, but they don't take the time to make little notches for the washer. So they only do it on the one, the way it comes from the factory. But on the other holes, they don't have any little notches. So there's two ways to fix that. One, you take a knife to your $80 holster and, dig into it. And two, you can take the washer and the nut and tighten it and hope that the little pins will kind of, make their own grooves. That's the way I did it. And unfortunately, when I did it, the teeth wouldn't go into the leather. It actually bent the teeth. So after spending $80, I had to go give them more money to buy more washers. So I was pretty upset about that. For $80, those are little, attention to detail that you would expect with a holster of that name brand, that caliber, and that price. How long does it take you to make little notches around the holes? Not long. I really think that's kind of a big shortcoming. It really kind of really irritated me. And again, that kind of goes into the next point is if you look on the back, I'm going to show you a little video here. You see those washers, you see the little rivets. Those are all kind of digging into your body, grabbing on clothes. And again, it goes back to the comfortability of the holster. That might not seem like a big deal to you, but those little things all add up. And those little things are what's going to make you say, I'm not going to bring my gun today. So, again, that's kind of a negative. It's not the worst thing in the world. But when you look at the competition, again, I'm going to go back to the Nate Square Tactical holster. The back is kind of a suede. There's no washers, no nothing prodding into you. It's extremely comfortable. Whereas this, this is more money than I spent on my Nate Squared tactical holster, but I have these little washers digging into my body constantly, and it's I really didn't like that. Um, the next thing again goes back to the wear and tear of the gun. Um, if you look at some kind of the different kind of pancake holsters that are on the outside of your waistband, the front and back of the leather is shaped to the gun. With this holster, the only thing that's shaped is the actual Kaydex. So I'm going to show you a video here. If you actually look at the leather, you can see that my gun is digging into leather and taking away material every time that you holster and draw your weapon. So again, it's going to take off the bluing of your gun. It's going to dig into your $8 holster. So if you wear this, day in and day out, over time, you're gonna get a pretty sizable hole. Now, I didn't really wear this holster that much, because I really didn't like it. But even, say I wore it for 2 months, let's say. I mean, that's a pretty sizable, kind of wear on the leather there, and that's only about 2 months. Imagine 2-3 years, you're gonna have a pretty big hole in there. And again, for the $80 price tag, that's not something that, that's not acceptable. So now you may say, well, the Nate Squared tactical one that, I kind of praise a lot doesn't have that either. Well, that is true, but the Nate Squared tactical has a neoprene middle, and what that does is after you put the gun in there and you leave it in there for about a week, the neoprene will actually mold to the gun. So it's not rubbing anymore, and you don't dig into the actual leather. I don't, I've drawn and reholstered my gun many times with that holster, and no bluing has come off, no nothing. There's no digging into the leather. It's pretty much perfect from the day that I bought it. With this holster, only 2 months, I got a pretty sizable deterioration of the leather, which again is not a positive. The next thing, this is where I really don't. This is the biggest problem I have with the holster, and it's the clips. They're very similar to clips that you find on most holsters, but they're not strong. And I think the combination of the leather not being shaped to the gun and the bad clips, every time I go to draw my gun with my Ruger, the whole holster comes with it. Now, I've used guns for a very long time. I've used different holsters for a very long time. I'm pretty experienced with them, and I've never had this problem. Maybe when I first started, I would, draw the holster with the gun, 1 or 2 times. But consistently with this holster, every time I pull on it, either I can't get the gun out, or the whole holster comes with it. And again, if you're in a defensive situation, that's not good. That's not acceptable. So what I did was I bought these J clips that you can see on my holster. These are not the original clips that came with it. The theory behind these is they loop underneath your belt, so that when you go and grab the gun and you pull on it, it's not allowing the holster to come with the gun, which is a good thing. The bad thing is that the actual clip is resting on your pants, not your actual belt. So your pants are supporting the gun and the weight, not your belt. So it pulls down your pants. I was going to buy the C clips, which is basically a J clip, but it has a top portion which rests on the belt. So the belt is taking the weight, and you have the bottom portion which is going to tug against, the force of the gun being pulled out. By this point, I already spent $80 on the actual holster. I spent another like $3 or $4 on new washers. Then I had to buy another clip for another $10. Those clips didn't work out, so I had to go buy another $10 clip. So I'm in this at about over $100, and by this point I was completely not happy with this holster. So I did more research. I decided, the Ruger is a great home defense gun. It's a great range gun, but it's not a good concealed carry gun. So I bought a Smith & Wesson M&P, and when I bought that gun, I bought the Nate Square Tactical holster. I think this was a newer product. I think it came out a couple years after I bought my Ruger, so this wasn't really around then. But this is kind of the new thing on the block, and I absolutely love it. With the Crossbreed, I'm really not happy with it. I did not buy a second one for my new gun, so I think that speaks a lot to it. So, the final score of this holster, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. You can tell that they make a good product. This is a very high quality product. You can tell that they put a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears into this holster. It could just be my gun. Perhaps if I had this with an automatic, I wouldn't have a lot of these problems. If you look at a revolver, it has a cylinder on the side. It's a little bit more awkward. It's not as slimline as an automatic. So maybe, the cylinder wouldn't dig into the leather. Maybe it would be a little more comfortable if I bought a gun that was a little more lightweight. I might like it more. But still, the clips are terrible. I hated them. The fact that I had to go buy 2 sets of clips to get it right is not acceptable to me. The little holes in the back for the washers really would be a nice thing. Again, I ruined my washers when I tried to adjust this. I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to go buy new washers. I shouldn't have to take a knife to my $80 holster. It's those little things kind of just add up and put a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know what to say. People love this holster. You look online, people say they like this holster. With me, I just didn't like it. Again, it could be my gun. I would be willing to do another review with a different gun, maybe my M&P, see if I like it. But with this gun, with my experience, with this holster, with my Ruger, I just didn't have a positive experience. So that's my feelings on it. If you want to get more information, please go to crossbreedholsters.com. Please subscribe. Any comments, questions below, I greatly appreciate it. And also, some feedback would be nice. If you have a problem with my video, think I could do something different, please let me know. I'm always learning, trying to make my videos better. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you very much.